Welcome to Pep Talk, where passion equals purpose. My guest today is Jackie Wachter of FOUNT. Hi, Jackie.
Hey, how's it going, Ann?
Welcome to Pep Talk.
I'm so thrilled to be here.
Thank you.
And I had no idea we had so much in common.
Really?
Yeah, as far as yoga and believing in life coaching and loving Cleveland.
Believing in life coaching.
Yeah,
I'm happy to
I
hear
thoroughly
that.
believe in that.
It's good. I like people to feel like they can be better than what they think they are.
Yeah.
Like holding a mirror and saying like you can be so much better.
Right?
So that's my favorite thing.
Totally. I love that because I think recently I'm trying to get out of my own way.
Yes.
I realize like parts of my personality that on one side could be a strength, on the other side definitely are a weakness, and I'm like, get out of your own way, Jackie. Like you are your own problem a lot of the time. You
Exactly.
know? Yeah.
And it's brilliant that you can even see that. Most people don't even see it.
Well,
So you're halfway there.
Thanks.
Good.
Feels fun.
Okay, I love your ensemble.
Oh, thanks.
It's fantastic.
Well, you told me jeans are what you were rocking, so I got out my one pair of jeans.
Oh my gosh. Instead of jeans, what's your normal
Oh, dresses.
attire?
Like 95% of the time, dresses. I just feel so comfy. It's like pajamas,
Yeah,
but people think you're dressed up,
yeah.
but you're in your kind of pajamas. It's
I-
also the secret of the hat, too. It means you just
Totally.
don't really have to do your hair.
I agree. I have to do my hair a lot.
You have great hair, though.
So do you.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome, and thank you. So, how's the name Fount?
Oh, okay, great.
What is that? Where does that come from?
I love that question because that's actually, it felt like it was just a total God thing. So we were trying to think of a name. We wanted to start a leather business. So everything was kind of starting to happen and coming along, and it was just kind of this little hobby my husband and I were doing, right?
Mhm.
And then once my friend's mom asked us to design a bag for her, we're like, oh, maybe we should really come up with like a name for this. And it kind of started to become a real thing. And so at first we had this name, Sidecar Club, was what the original name of Fount was. That was
Sidecar, like the cocktail.
actually just like on a motorcycle. Because
Oh,
my
that's
husband
cool.
loves motorcycles.
Yeah.
And we always said like, once we have kids, what are we gonna do with them?
Yeah.
And he said, oh, we're gonna stick them in the sidecar. And so we were just kind of like a sidecar club. That's cute, but it felt like a little too young and not serious enough, and it didn't feel classy, right? So,
Mhm.
or at least for leather bags. So then we love this one artist, Sufjan Stevens, who had a cover of an old hymnal that was called "Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing."
Okay.
Yeah, and we heard that word "fount" in this old hymnal, and we're like, I wonder what that actually means. So we looked it up, and it meant an abundant source of desirable. An abundant source of desirable quality.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
You're like, that is it.
that is it, because so the main goal of FOUNT, we have a lot of goals, but one of our mission statements, or like part of our why, is to make quality products that people can rely on. So we do offer a lifetime warranty on all of our products, and to this day, we sold thousands and thousands of our most popular bag, the tote, and never had a strap break because they're hand sewn with a saddle stitch, and then there's a reinforcement piece that we designed on the inside, which I'll show you. So on the back of this strap,
Yeah.
this is all hand done with 2 needles going
Yeah.
like this, right? So if you ever have like your t-shirt unravel and unravel and unravel, it's because the bobbin stitch has broken, and that top stitch just keeps unwinding. Whereas when you sew with 2 needles, every single stitch locks. So you cannot break these. So that's the first step. And then we have this reinforcement piece
Oh
on
my
the
gosh.
inside, which makes it really strong. So to our knowledge, we're the only company in the world doing an enforcement piece like
Yeah.
this. And that's why ladies say, I carry it for my work bag, my diaper bag, everything,
Mhm.
because it's so strong. So we always say
Okay.
they take you from day to night. So, but anyway, quality, yeah.
I have so many questions right now going through my head. Number one, I guess, is when I talk about people's passions, mine stemmed from when I was very young, and I find that I believe in that. We have a gift.
Yes.
So
Yes.
when you were really young, Jackie, what did you love to do?
Oh my goodness. Get dressed. It was my favorite thing to do.
Like in kindergarten. You
Oh,
knew.
preschool, earlier.
You
like,
knew.
My mom has these pictures of me when I was 3, and I just had these outfits that were just crazy. I would have 3 pairs of socks layered with like crazy ponytail things, and just like I looked like, remember Punky Brewster?
Yeah.
Essentially that. But I just loved style, and like I had an American Girl doll in my mom, and I would sew clothes for her, and I sewed all my own bedding for my room. I just loved to decorate, and everything involving like making the world a prettier place was just my favorite.
Oh my gosh, so you were a fashionista.
Yeah.
Little.
Yeah.
And did you learn to sew?
Yeah.
So you knew how to sew. You had a
Yeah.
sewing machine?
Yeah, my grandma actually taught me how to sew in her attic when I think I was like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And so my very first project, I made this ant farm pillowcase with glow-in-the-dark ant farm fabric. I still have it. But it was like
Wow.
the very first thing I ever sewed. She's like, let's start easy with the pillowcase. And yeah, that's when I started sewing.
That's amazing. I learned to sew too, and like it was a thing. My older sisters made clothes.
Oh.
Okay, but when I learned and having to cut out those patterns
Oh,
and trying
right,
to
yeah.
sew, I mean, I really, that is a talent. It's
You
innate.
realize you're like, that's not
Like
my
you
thing.
can do it or you really can't.
Yeah.
I find that.
Or you love it or you don't,
You
you know.
were good at it, and
Mhm.
so that's we're good at it, and so we like to do it because we're good.
Yeah.
And so then, did you in high school were you still sewing? What did you do in college? Like, did that just
Yeah.
keep on expanding?
Yeah, and I wouldn't say it was always just sewing. It was always just making things and then wanting to give them as gifts or sell them. Like, my first business, like, my husband and I joke about this because he has a very similar story. My first business was in 7th grade. I wanted to start this, like, would make all these, like, do you remember macrame?
Of course.
Sew in, right? Like,
Yes.
hemp necklaces. I was really
Yes.
into that, and so I
The
would.
plant hangers.
Yes, yes,
Mhm.
but I would do like different necklaces and bracelets and
Mhm.
things, and so I would make my own. And all of these people at my school, it was 7th through 12th, they would say like, "Oh, I love your necklace," and I was like, "Oh, I'll make you one." And then I was making so many of them just for my friends. I was like, I'm gonna start a business. And so in 7th grade, I had like my bead kit in my locker, and then people could come for like an appointment at lunchtime. And then I would like write down their order, show them the bead options,
Oh
and then
my gosh.
so, or I'd like weave it up that night, and then they'd come pay for it the next day. So it lasted like maybe like 6 months, and I was selling to like up to the 12th graders. I was like, anytime I'd sell one to a senior, I'd be like, yes.
Oh my gosh.
And then the principal shut me down.
That's amazing.
And Philip, my husband, did a very similar thing. He was hand sewing Beanie Babies, like his own kind of little designs out of his locker and selling them.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that funny?
Yes. And so then, how did you expand on that? What was?
Well, it was just kind of like always like, I just always thought it was fun. So then I had all these kind of, fake flop businesses. Like in college, my friend and I started a cleaning service, and then we started like all these different things. I started like designing these jewelry boards that like I would like because I was always like I don't know where to put all my jewelry, so I designed these boards that like your bracelets would hang, and then your necklaces, and the short ones, long ones, and then you could hang it in your closet, and I'd hand paint them and blah blah blah, and then I'd go to these craft fairs to sell them. But the problem was that people would walk by and they'd be like, oh, those are so cool, I'm gonna go home and make one of those. And I was like, hey, but that wasn't your idea. And so what it was something that was too replicatable by
Yes.
someone. So anyways, it was just an interesting learning experience for me, and just even that I always wanted to make things and sell them was just kind of my
Yeah.
Just
So
always-
you had a good entrepreneurial spirit from the
Yeah.
time you were little.
maybe.
Like you were gonna. Did you know that you were gonna be your own boss?
Well, with my personality, I don't know that I do well as an employee because I always love to think of the ways to fix everything. And I don't know that every boss always wants to hear that, right? Or should I always share those things?
Mhm.
So in my experience, like I was a teacher before, and if I see something that I'm like, oh, we could make this better, it's really hard for me to keep that inside, right? And I know that not everybody wants to hear that. So
Yeah.
maybe it was destined to be.
What? I'm curious. What was your first job?
Oh, my first job
Like a job that you got paid for?
Yeah, my very first job was a
Mhm.
waitress. I was 15, maybe
Mhm.
14.
That's a hard job
Oh, I
for your
love-
first job.
I could be a lifetime waitress.
You could.
I love it. I love talking to people all day long. I love just shooting the breeze and making people feel happy.
Yeah.
I love waitressing. So I did that probably from 15 until 22, like off and on throughout college and stuff. But yeah, loved it.
I waited tables for the first time in New York at Pre-Theater.
Mm.
Talk about being thrown into the fire.
But you're so outgoing. I feel
Of
like you would
cappuccino
love
hell.
it. It's like there's pros and cons.
At
Right?
like 7:20, everyone in the restaurant wanted a decaf, half calf,
Oh.
double foam cappuccino. I mean, I would go home and have nightmares.
Oh, and you forgot there's sugar in your dreams, right?
Oh.
In my dreams, I'm like, oh no, I forgot the Lady Stella
Yes.
dressing.
Yes, I had nightmares, and I thought to myself, this is not even my career, and I'm
Right.
having nightmares about
Right.
this place.
But I will say one thing, that waiting on tables, I feel like everyone at some point should have to do it because
Absolutely.
you learn so much, and you really learn how to let things roll off your back because people are very rude sometimes.
Yeah.
Most people are very nice. I always try to remember 90% of people are extremely friendly and nice, But then you have that person who doesn't realize maybe how they're treating you. But it helped me really get a tough skin
Yes.
to say, like, people aren't always aware of how they're treating me
Right.
or others, and they're
Mhm.
also not aware of, just maybe the way the world works. But then also it was good to reflect on most people are not that way. A small portion of the world is that way, and the majority is not. Because I think we can, in life, get hung up on the rare experience that brings you down,
Of course.
opposed to, choosing optimism and saying, like, most of life is good.
I say that all the time.
Right?
In class, when I'm teaching yoga and when I'm life coaching, I'm always saying to people, look for what's right,
Right?
not for what's wrong.
There's honestly so many say. So have you heard of the book Happiness Advantage?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it's rocking my world right now. But
Mhm.
it's that whole thing. Look for what's right, because we all have great opportunities coming our way.
Yeah.
But some people have fully trained their brain not to see them. They have fully trained their brain to look at every opportunity that comes their way as they're going to name the 20 reasons why it wouldn't work.
Yes.
Whereas someone who's an optimist is going to
Look
walk
for-
in and be like, it could work.
Yeah.
What if we try it from this angle? This might work. And then also when it doesn't work, they're like, oh, let's just reroute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's always a rainbow.
There's
You just
always
have
a
to find
rainbow.
it. I think that one other thing I learned in waiting tables, which helps me today, is when you are really kind,
Yes.
people start to kind of turn.
Say that. That
and
is
they
good.
and they can be kind, because as rude as people would be
Yes,
to me, I would
yes.
try harder
Yes.
to be kinder.
That
so
is
it really,
so
It really
true.
developed
Yes.
that when I was young.
Because that's a skill.
So interesting.
If you come at somebody, if my perception of someone is they're rude. And if I come at them and I'm sarcastic or I'm just a little coy back, they're going to get more rude.
Exactly.
And then if you come at them friendly,
Mhm.
friendly, and just kind of
Mhm.
let it roll off and just assume the best about them, assume they didn't mean to come off that way. Generally, you're right.
Yeah.
They turn around.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, they're your buddy.
Yeah.
And you have the power of steering the relationship
I'm
ship.
glad we see this. See,
It's
I
real.
don't know if you even need a life coach, Jackie.
I think
you
I
got it
do.
going. Has that ever happened in the FOUNT world?
Oh yeah.
Are you the manager of the people who are working, or do you have someone who kind of handles the management?
Well, okay, so there's a few different levels because our business is interesting because from start to finish we make the product, so we import all of the
Okay.
leather from Venice.
So
and then-
that is done here in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Correct.
right around the corner.
Now, and you just shared with me you've got a new place.
Yes.
Where's that going to be? Are you allowed to say?
Yeah, I could say it's at Tyler Village,
Okay.
which is where the Cleveland Flea is. Have you been to the Cleveland
yes.
Flea? So we're right upstairs, which is amazing because we do all the Cleveland Fleas, and so we'll
Mhm.
just roll our little cart out. And
Yeah.
sell. And then also on flea days, we'll probably have tours where you can come check out where we make everything. Yeah, so
How
we
big
really
is that
can-
space?
It's exciting. It's big. It's way bigger than our current space. It's 22,000 square feet,
Wow.
and our current space is like less than 7.
And how many people do you have physically cutting and needling your products?
Yeah. So our team is 52 people total, but that includes girls at the store in Cleveland and girls at the store in Columbus, and then at the studio, I think that we're probably about 42 of us.
Mhm.
Which is so exciting because it all started in our apartment, just Philip and I.
You're kidding.
No, on Belfield Avenue, and that's why our bag is called the Belfield Tote.
Where is that?
In Cleveland Heights. Do you know where Nighttown is?
Yes.
It's like right up the hill.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the onset? So you said you had made a bag,
Yeah.
and then was it instantly we're just gonna make more bags and keep selling? Did you
Well-
love it and we're like, this is it? Was it a light bulb oh my gosh?
No, definitely not. It was totally organic and crazy that it even worked out. Like one of those things, we could have looked at it from every angle and said this isn't going to work because at the beginning the bags would take us over 13 hours to make one tote, and then we were only charging I think less than $200, and we had over $100 in materials, and then the cost to market it and sell it and all of
Yeah.
those different things. It was really, really crazy. So anyways, but we could have looked at that and said, oh, there's just no way it will work. But we studied the art of leather making, and we found different machines to make us more efficient, found better leather and all these things. At the beginning we were hand hammering 510 holes per bag. but we were just prototyping bags and figuring out the design.
Yeah.
Yeah. But to answer your question, so the first Cleveland Flea is where we started selling the bags. So I had made one for my best friend for Christmas. Her mother-in-law bought it for her for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're like, well, let's try to like make another bag that's like every woman's dream bag. My personal bag issue is that every bag I've ever had, the straps break.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're just broken in 6 months.
Yeah.
And so then it ends up going in a landfill. And even like really nice brands, which at that time I had never bought, like a Burberry or something like that, but they don't have a guarantee on their straps or anything. So
Right.
we wanted to have a guarantee on the straps. And then we also wanted not to have any lining, because the lining's the second thing to deteriorate. Lining, like any cloth or acetate or anything, it's going to deteriorate, get dirty, get gross, and then rip eventually.
Yeah.
So that's usually the second thing that deteriorates. So we chose to do leather on leather and then really, really durable straps. So at that first Cleveland Fleet, we made 7 of them, and we couldn't believe it, but they all sold. It was so awesome. We were like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So then we made more for the next month. And at that time, it's interesting, like, I've learned so much about myself and customers and working with people and listening to people with our employees and our team, but also like with our customers, because so the bag that I carried in is
Which
very large,
I'm
right?
obsessed with.
Thank you.
Mhm.
But very large. And
Mhm.
so most of our customers would say, I love this bag, but you know,
Yeah.
it's just too big. And I was like, at first I was like, oh, what do you mean it's too big? I think it's perfect. It's exactly how I want
Yeah.
my bag. Don't you want your bag just like I want my bag?
Yes.
Was like, at first I took it like more personal, that they didn't like our design. And then I was like, wait, they're asking for a smaller bag. Why don't I just give them a smaller bag? So Philip and I then came out with the next size down, which was the classic. So it's like 6 inches shorter,
Mhm.
4 inches shorter, I don't know.
Mhm.
And then people would still say like, oh, like, so then we started selling them like crazy. And then people would say, oh, I still want it smaller. And so we're like, really? And then that became our second best seller. So the 2 things that people asked us to make, they said like,
Mhm.
can you make it smaller? And when we listened to them, those are our number 1 sellers,
Wow.
like by far.
So you have just ridden a wave. It's just like your passion has just kept you moving forward.
Yeah.
Do you
it's-
feel like there was ever a moment, Jackie, that there was like a real breakdown and it was like, ugh, are we gonna keep going?
Oh.
Are we gonna push through? Or
I would say like
or-
hundreds, hundreds of
Really?
breakdowns. Well, there's just
I mean,
things-
I like to say
yeah,
they're all a breakthrough
yeah. Oh, I love that.
because it's not really a breakdown. If you get through it, you're
Mm.
like, okay, what did
Oh,
I
we broke
learn? And we're
through.
gonna keep.
And you learned a lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. So in that happiness advantage, there's a big chunk of it that talks about like celebrating your failures. And it's very cool to think because they teach you something, right? So one of the hardest things that we ever went through at the beginning of our business, the hardest thing was to get people aware that we were making these bags and sell them. So we were selling at the Cleveland Flea, and then maybe like 4 months in, a major magazine reached out and they said, can we do a feature on you?
How did they find you?
I think on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, and at that time we only had like 1,000 followers.
Yeah.
And like I was styling all my girlfriends, and my husband was taking the photos. So it was very, very like organic and
Mm-hmm.
kind of like grassroots situation. But so they found us and they asked, could we do an article on you? So they did this full spread in Country Living magazine, and I guess they're the second biggest readership, I think, to Oprah, which we didn't
Wow.
know that when they reached out. And so they had our picture and they had our bags and they did such a great job with the article. It was so awesome, and we started getting hundreds of orders rolling in. So we instantly were like, oh, I guess we should quit our day jobs. So then we hired some people. We then had enough money in the bank account from those orders to buy this clicker press that would help us take the time on producing the bags like way down so that we could click out the straps and not have to hand hammer and dot. So we started making all these bags, hundreds of bags, and we're so excited. But then that next February, after those orders all went out, because that was in October, guess how many bags we sold in February? I always like to tell this to people because it's very humbling.
Like, don't say like 10.
1.
Whoa.
Yes, is that not terrifying when you have
Whoa.
9 people on payroll?
Oh.
So we panicked, right? But that could have been, well, that was fun. That was fun.
Yeah,
High
it was a
five,
good
guys.
hobby.
It was a good run.
Yeah.
That was a good hobby. And then we close up shop and sell the clicker press on eBay, right?
Yeah.
And that could have been the end of the book. But we tried to come up with a solution, and we didn't have kids yet. So Philip and I said, we sold at the Cleveland Flea, and that was great for getting our name out. Let's see what other kind of markets are all around the country. So then we started going to 52 shows a year.
Like
So-
like flea type.
Like flea type
Mhm.
shows, like around the country, in Atlanta, Chicago, all these hip neighborhoods where people want to buy made local or
Yes.
just made ethically in the USA. So we hit the road and we'd sew all week long with our team and then pack up on a Thursday night, go sell, come back Sunday night, and then do it again and again and again and again for until we had our baby. And then I'd take him on my back and then go sell at shows until I prayed to God. I was like, God, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And literally, he answered that prayer because he sent us an email through Magical Elves that they asked us to be on LeBron James' show. And
oh my gosh.
it was honestly,
Yes.
I prayed, I was like, God, I just cannot travel around the country selling
Yeah.
these bags. It feels like this is not sustainable, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But in the midst of that, there was another huge wall we hit against was, we grew organically, we didn't have any investors. So, have you heard of trade shows?
Yeah.
Okay, so all these smart businessmen were telling us, you gotta wholesale your bags, you gotta get them in Nordstrom, you gotta get them in department stores, right? And that sounds great, right? Get them in boutiques, get them in department stores. And we're like, yeah, let's get them in boutiques and department stores. Like, we should do that. But what a lot of people don't know is when you work with a retailer, they more than double the price of your bag. So our $300 bag would in their store, like, they'd only give us $150. So we'd be in the hole on that.
Yeah.
Right? So we were like, okay. We talked to all these businessmen and like advisors and people who kind of like had tips for us, and we doubled our pricing. So like our tote that was around 300 jumped up to 600.
Ouch.
Right? We went to the trade show. All the big names are there. The department stores, Anthropologie, like tons of boutiques, like great names. And a ton of people came to our booth and said, oh my gosh, what are these bags? We've never seen these. And it was so exciting. And then they'd see the price and say, oh, it's just too high. But like to make a bag in the USA, that's what it costs if you want to have it in a boutique.
Yeah.
So for us to compete with, bags that are made in China or India or other places with really low labor costs, we have to just be direct to consumer and sell them on our website and through our stores.
Yeah.
So, but if we hadn't gone to that trade show, and by the way, we lost like over 18 grand because of the cost that is to be in the show, printed materials that we ended up just wasting, and hotels and everything. It ended up being a total of 18 grand to be in the show.
So there's been a lot of frustration.
Well,
for sure.
Yeah.
It's just like most businesses, growth.
Right.
There's been a lot of challenges.
Yeah, and you fall down and you pick yourself up, and I think it was like that definitely could have been that was a fun hobby, because how are we ever going to get these out to the world? But we were then able to say, and I can very confidently today say, that we can't be in department stores. So like when those opportunities, when people say, hey, can we carry your bags? We just say, no, the margin doesn't work.
Right.
Because we want to continue to make it here in the USA.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's like, I almost view it as, if we didn't do that, I would always wonder. If we didn't go to the trade show, I'd always wonder. But now I can really clearly say, hey, we tried and it just didn't work.
Yeah.
So.
And then you have, your store is incredibly beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
As far as
Thank you.
a Cleveland-based, I mean, if you haven't gone, you have to go. Where is the location?
So 6706 Detroit. It's in Gordon Square.
It's absolutely stunning.
Thank you.
I mean, did you design the whole thing?
No, I can't take all the credit. So, but it was like myself and Jade, our vice president. She and I like love that stuff. So we just so we were on a shoestring budget, right? Cleveland Hustles, part of the show was that we had to have a storefront. If you were one of the winners by the end of the show, you had to open a storefront. And we again chose not to work with an investor, so we were on this shoestring budget. And everybody says now that retail is dying, everything's going online. So we thought for sure, this is it. This is when we go bankrupt. Well, again, that was fun. Let's just chalk it up. We have to do this to be on the show. So we're like, okay, we're gonna get all this national press. It's on CNBC. This is gonna be great. Let's just do it for the TV aspect.
Yeah.
And then if we have to close the show or the store in 6 months, it is what it is. So the neighborhood was great. They gave us a really short lease. They understood that we were really scared. Our house furniture, I want to shout them out. They donated every piece of furniture in the store. We reached out to them. We had a relationship with them just from different projects we had collaborated on, and they said, I called to see if they had any scratch and dents we could get. And he's like, oh no, we'll just give it to you. Pick whatever you want.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I think
Super
that's
nice
something
people.
that people don't do enough is, I'm trying to teach my kids this, is you have to ask.
You do have to ask.
For really anything, because you can't assume The answer is no.
Yeah.
And we underestimate, I feel, the generosity of the human spirit. So
That's really awesome.
That's like a perfect example.
Yeah.
You have to ask.
You have to ask, and
Mhm.
and then just be willing to, like, leave your ask open maybe for people to have room for a comfortable no.
Yeah.
But just like to even say like, hey, like, you know, do you have any scratch and dents? We expected to pay for, you know, their like what's your scratch and dent situation look like? I didn't expect free furniture.
Yeah.
Didn't ask for that. They just offered it. It was incredible.
Yeah.
And so even just like opening that door, like, hey, like, we love working with you guys and you've been amazing and generous on so many levels. Like, I can't say enough good things about them. But anyway, yeah, you have to ask.
I have a little goodie with me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I was just in your store.
I recognize that bag.
One of my girlfriends told me that this was going on.
Whoa!
And I love this color. Okay?
Yes.
So for
Thank you.
people who are not seeing us,
Should we hold it up?
it's this beautiful, it's called pomegranate, correct?
Pomegranate.
It's this
It's the fruit of
pomegranate
love.
I
For
like
Valentine's
that.
Day.
Oh, and I love Valentine's Day, so I got myself this.
Perfect.
Tell me, what is this one called again?
The Finley clutch.
The Finley clutch.
Uh-huh.
So I just think it's marvelous, and the color is really what
Thanks.
got me. So what I didn't know is this is a special limited edition.
Yeah.
So how often do you do these?
So we typically do, and this is something we've done since the beginning. It's super fun. We do at Christmas, we do a holiday color, and at Valentine's Day, we do a holiday color.
Okay, good to know.
Oh, and then in the spring, we just started last year partnering with Drink Local, Drink Tap, and we do blue ones. And then when we do the blue one, 100% of proceeds goes to keeping Lake Erie clean
Mm-hmm.
and digging wells in Africa for clean
Awesome.
water. So 100%.
What's the color blue like?
Like a navy. Usually we
Oh,
go with a
nice.
navy, yeah. So this year it's going to be a nubuck suede,
Okay.
and it's like a really beautiful.
So people could get this or something like this on your website as well.
Yeah,
Which
totally.
is Fount Leather.
Yeah, FOUNTleather.com.
Yeah, it's very accessible and good
Aw.
stuff.
Thanks.
When did you open Columbus?
Okay, so that's an interesting story too, to another roadblock. We opened it 6 months after Cleveland because Cleveland was doing, we couldn't believe how well Cleveland was doing it. We call it our little engine that could, because it's a tiny store,
Yeah.
but it's just like, people love coming in to pick their bag out in person.
Yeah.
And we just didn't see that coming,
Mhm.
you know? So Cleveland had been amazing, and everyone had, again, we took everyone's advice, because, you know, you have to do that, right?
Yeah.
So everyone said, you know, Cleveland's doing so well. Can you imagine how well this would do in Columbus, where they have such a young demographic and so many young professionals, and their downtown is just bumping with the short north. And so we were like, yeah, we should try that out. And I have so many girlfriends there. So we tried out Columbus, and our rent is really expensive there. It's more than 5 times what we pay in Gordon Square. And yeah, but we're in the short north. It's so beautiful. We're like right by the Joseph and a little bit down from Brassica and Jenny's. And we love our neighborhood. But what we didn't realize was that we hadn't done the hard work in Columbus yet. You know what I mean? Like, we were here in Cleveland, popping up.
Everyone knew about you.
Well, I don't know about that, but thank you. But we were popping up everywhere. We were popping at the Flea, at Tremont, at Lakewood, at, you know, if somebody asked me to pop up in their driveway, like a lemonade stand, I'd be like, yeah, what time? I'll be there. I'm not kidding you. I was popping up everywhere. And we hadn't done that hard work in Columbus.
Yeah.
Like, we hadn't really gotten our name out there. And so we just opened the store and expected the same flow as our Cleveland store. And it didn't happen. And it was really scary for us, because we're like, whoa, wait a minute. If you build it, they will come. Where are they?
Yeah.
And luckily, I have so many great girlfriends down there that have spread the word, and then they've told their friends, and those ladies have told their friends, and so on and so forth. And there's a lot of people who travel through Columbus and the short north, so it is picking up. Like, every year is doing better and better than the one before. But we're going on 2 years there, and it was really hard at the beginning. So we've had to like be really creative with our marketing down there. And we're constantly working with, we have an amazing store manager. We're working with her on just coming up with fresh ideas all the time to just let people know that we're there.
Yeah.
You know, because we have little babies. We have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. And so packing up and doing
a girl
shows
and
now.
a boy, or
Actually, boy.
boy.
And you have boy, right?
No, I
Girl.
have girl, boy.
Girl, boy.
Yeah. I'm really blessed. What are their names?
We've got Scout and Clyde.
Cute.
What are yours?
Oh, I have a Lily and a Bella and a Kyle.
Oh, sweet. I love the name Bella. So
It's
are
funny
you
because
Italian?
she's No, but everyone asks me that. I think it's the dark and the hair.
Yeah, you look
the dark
Italian.
hair.
Yeah.
Isabella
and the
is
hair.
her name, and it's funny because she's 20. Right, Belle? Not
I don't even
21
know
yet.
if I believe
20.
that. I don't believe that. You
so
look so young.
When we named her that, it was like by the time she was maybe a preteen, and the movie Twilight came out, and
Oh,
Bella
yes.
was the everything.
Yes.
Because when she
they were
was
about the
growing
same
up,
age,
there wasn't
right?
like this whole Bella, and it became her
There
nickname.
were no Bellas.
And so then it was like, wow, that's a really cool name.
Oh.
Suddenly it was like Bella from Twilight.
Yes.
But those are really cool creative names. How is that balance for you? Do they come to work? Is your studio? Do you have like?
I had to
Could they
take like a
come
deep
in?
breath when you asked the question. I'm like, so yes. When
But 3 in 1, that's a lot.
Yeah. So when Scout was born,
Mhm.
he's our older one, and so the business was like I guess less than 2 years old then. Is that right? And so he would come to work every day, and he had a little crib in the office, and I had one of those awesome rockers that like puts babies to sleep.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, it was the best. So I had one of those in the office that my friend had given me, and it was amazing. So he would sleep in there, and I'd go sew, and then when he'd wake up, he'd play in the pack and play, and then I have pictures with him on my back in one of those backpack things, and I'm on the clicker press. OSHA probably would not approve of that. Like clicking up with like 15 tons of pressure, and there's like a baby on my back.
Oh my god.
But it was what we had to do.
Yeah.
You know, he
Yeah.
came to work every day because I nursed him, and so he was with me every day, and I just didn't really have a childcare option. We were honestly like so strapped for cash at that time, and so he came to work every day until he was, I think it was around 6 months old that he was like over it.
Yeah.
He was like starting to want to crawl,
Yeah.
and he'd cry if he was in the pack and play, just like stand. He would go up to the edge and just stand and watch us sew, and just like sit and
So
stare
cute.
at us.
Have you started to see any of the same interests in him?
Oh, I don't
Like,
know.
is
Right
he
now
ki-
he loves to he could build racetracks all day. That's like his thing. He's really into race cars. So
It's like
anything.
my son.
Oh yeah.
Big
he
car
just-
guy.
Oh yeah. Just
Mhm.
still or
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He could talk about cars. He got me for my birthday. It was like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks, something like that. And he got me a Matchbox car. It's like it's a truck with like a little ramp that goes like puts it up with a Porsche.
Mhm.
And he gave it to me for my birthday, and he was so pumped to give it to me. And then when he was leaving for school, he's like, "But Mom, can I borrow that?" I was dying.
That's the cutest.
Yeah, he's really
My
sweet.
son had one of those Matchbox. It rolls
The
around.
suitcase. Yes, he
And
has
they
that.
have all their best cars. In
Oh,
there, so they can
yes,
take it places and
yes.
show people.
That's everything.
I know,
that
I love
suitcase.
it. That's why boys are so.
They're so
That's not
fun.
girls. Well, not my
Well,
girls.
they have the suitcase
They
with
didn't-
Barbies in it,
Yes,
right?
the
Yeah.
Barbie clothes.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you can relate.
Yes.
Like you would love that. Like,
Oh.
let's play Barbies.
Oh, I
don't
love to
think
play Barbies and sew
right.
clothes.
I mean, my son never wanted to play Barbies.
No. Well, we did sew a shirt for his gecko. He wanted a shirt on, a
Oh,
racing
that's
shirt for
cool.
his gecko.
That's cool.
But anyway,
how,
yeah.
How
so-
does that go between you and your husband as far as the balance? Like, are you working together most days in
Yeah.
your studio?
Yeah, but we
And then
do
when you
very
go
different
home,
things
do
at
you,
this
like,
point.
Head to opposite,
Well,
or you just keep collaborating?
I'm not gonna
on
lie, it
everything?
feels like right now we're just trying to stay above water. We're like,
Yeah.
and that's like maybe where the life coach comes in to play is I need to figure out balance because one thing like it is so it was hard before we had kids, but once you have kids, it's like you feel like you're drowning. Like you're like, if I'm at work, and I've got, when most people when you go to work, it's like, a 9 to 5 situation or 8 to
Mhm.
4, whatever it is. And then you leave it and you close the door and you don't have to worry about it till tomorrow morning typically. But all night long I'm getting emails and texts and checking on this and putting it on my wonder list and like it's very hard for me personally to shut it off. And then my husband too, because we're like, oh, we have to update that thing on the website and we have to, because Philip does all the web stuff and different things because we started by, we were wearing all of the hats and so now we can take some of those
Delegate.
hats off
Who
and
does
delegate.
what?
Yeah,
Who
but-
likes what better?
right.
Essentially.
Yeah, but even delegate to our employees because they're amazing. But we also want to be really respectful of our employees' time. Like once they are done for the day, that they get to be home with their families
Yeah.
or friends.
Yeah.
But we don't have that same balance for ourselves, And
Yes.
so that's where
Yes.
my biggest growth area is
Yeah.
that I hold myself to a different standard than I hold other people to, and my husband. Like we both
Exactly.
are kind of workaholics,
Yeah.
if you want me to be honest.
Yes.
And it's something that we're working on
Yeah.
because when we get home, I've made a pact to like not have my phone out in front of the kids. So like I'm not allowed to text about work, email about work, anything. I'll get over 170 texts a day just about work stuff. You know, where it's just like someone's checking on this thing, checking on that thing. Oh, did you email this person? Did you like, oh, we have this interview, da da da, you know. So when I get home, it's like, okay, I just stick it on the counter, and then when I put the kids to bed at 7:30, then I can go through all that. But I need to also say, now's my time to spend time with my husband, or doing laundry, or just like enjoying
Absolutely.
our home.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas when I put the kids to bed, I'm like, oh, let me do these 35 tasks I need to do.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, it's 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And if I want to go to yoga at 6 a.m. and then like didn't spend time with my husband, we've been grinding at
Yeah.
this business for 4.5 years, and it's like almost like we're at a place where we could find that balance. It almost like it needed so much attention at the beginning,
Yeah.
but we can't keep going like this forever.
No.
So we're trying to find that.
Yeah. And I agree with you.
Yeah.
You have to plan it. You have to
Yeah.
schedule it.
Schedule it.
You know what you need, Jackie? You need to come on my yoga retreat.
Okay.
It's
I'll do
going to
that.
be in Italy.
What?
That's a plus,
That's
right?
my motherland.
Next
Do you know
September.
this?
No, next
Our
September.
mother is from there.
It is?
Yes, I could just stay and go visit the tannery.
Ah,
You never
we're going to
visited that.
Tuscany.
Oh.
You can find all this
Wait,
information
when is it?
at AnnRichardsInspires.com. It's called Vino and Vinyasa.
Come on.
It's mid-September, and we're going to Tuscany for a week, and it's all done. You can literally get on the plane, and you don't have to think about one more thing. We're combining wine and food and yoga, staying in a villa. It's going to be luxurious. So you should probably put that on your calendar.
So this is great. There's actually a leather show in September.
No
I think it's
way.
p.e.p. It's this big leather show where you can go see machines and leather. So maybe I'll see if I can.
Oh my
we can-
gosh.
How fun would that be?
It's going to be magnificent.
And
I
are you
just-
teaching the yoga?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
how fun.
I'm leading it, and the other thing is you get me for a week.
Yeah.
So the negative self-talk and the old stories, all of that, I say to people by the end of the week, you're going to be ready to like move a mountain.
Okay.
Because
I'm
you're with
ready.
me.
Yeah, let's do it.
So I like to ask people a few fun little tidbits. Can you remember the last time you were out dancing?
Oh, yes. I go to Zumba on Saturday mornings. My friend teaches Jamaican Zumba.
That's fun.
Oh my gosh, because I need to dance
Yes.
at least once a week.
Okay.
And it is
Because I really
so-
believe in that.
Oh, it's amazing. And then I'm
My
actually
yoga
going
class
dancing
is
tonight.
kind of like a dance.
Oh, is
You're
it?
going out dancing tonight?
Well, our church is having they have ladies' night sometimes, and so it's like we're having Galentine's.
That's so
And
cute.
then afterward, we always have a huge dance party. So there's gonna be like 150 women
Yeah.
just tearing it up.
Isn't it the best?
So fun.
It's like I
I
say
love
all the
to
time in
dance.
class, I say, you can't dance and be unhappy.
You cannot.
That's why I love it.
That's
You
so
can't
true.
dance and be
And
unhappy.
you
And I
also
used to
can't
say,
think
unless you
very
were
much.
slow dancing back in like high school,
Oh,
maybe
yeah,
you were really
yeah,
unhappy.
yeah,
But
that's true,
you
that's
just
true.
pretended.
I remember some painful dances.
Yes. Yes.
But honestly, that's true. And you also can't think that much. I like that about yoga too.
Yeah.
When I go to yoga, I just sometimes I can't shut my brain off, but I try so hard to just be like, this is my time to just not think about anything.
It's great if you can get
Just
there.
meditate and just
That
like,
is.
yeah.
It's a beautiful
It's
state.
the goal.
It's so important. Do you cook? Not okay.
Debatable.
What's
Well,
your favorite food?
Okay, so we definitely cook. Like we actually end up eating like all meals at home just because it's so hard to go out with kids.
Yeah.
So we eat at home like 99% of the time. I make my two specialty meals I make and take to things are I do like a sweet potato kale curry.
Ooh,
It's really fun.
that sounds delicious.
I'll make it for you one time. And then
I
my
love
other thing
that.
so I take that to stuff in the winter.
Okay,
And then in the summer I take beet salad with kale.
perfect.
And it's like
And so healthy.
it's fun.
Do you have a place you love to go in Cleveland?
Everywhere. I'm obsessed with Cleveland.
Yeah.
But where do I love to you mean like to eat or to where do I love Edgewater Park. My kids love playing at the beach. So I'm just so thankful that the Metro Parks have done so much.
It's amazing, right?
You know how you see these old pictures of like our grandparents' era or
Oh, yeah.
and the beaches are just covered in people and
Yeah.
everyone was swimming. So I'm just so thankful for everything that the city is doing now to make it clean again.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard about the Dome Tunnel? they're like putting in these tunnels underground to help with the water elevation,
I
like
have
when
heard
all
of
the
this.
water runoff
Because
happens.
I feel like someone told me they're working on this project.
Yeah, till 2021, but it's supposed to help cleanse Lake Erie. I don't know a lot about it, but I'm just so grateful that we have beaches here.
Yeah.
It's just a cool thing that not a
Oh,
lot
the
of
water.
cities have.
It's so important.
It's so
And when
important.
when I lived in New York, and people, first of all, always thought Cleveland, they would say, do you have cows? Like, for real. And then I would say, well, we're on a lake, it's really beautiful. And then when anyone would come visit me, they'd be like, this is like an ocean. You don't
Right?
see the end of it. Like,
Little
they
kids
thought it
have
was
no
a lake.
idea.
Like, we're living on
Yes.
this little lake. And I would try to explain to people, like, that's what's really cool
Yeah,
about Cleveland
the
is
Great Lakes.
the water.
Yes.
And I
yes.
haven't been to Columbus a lot, so I'm not as familiar. It
Yeah.
sounds like such a great city.
Oh, it's so fun. It's so young. It's got great energy.
I know
It's
I
also
miss
like
the water.
friendly, like Cleveland.
Yeah.
You know, it's got that same friendliness.
Yeah. Midwestern.
Yeah, it's that Midwestern. Like,
Yeah.
I lived in New York for a while, and I love elements of New York, but like daily, I guess, like, you're not from here, are you?
Because you're so nice.
Well, I just love to talk. Like, if I'm sitting next to somebody on the train.
You're going to start a conversation.
Well, and I'm like not trying to ask you over for dinner, but I'm at least, if my butt's gonna touch your butt, I'm gonna say hi
oh,
first.
that's nice.
You know,
I
just,
like that.
Like, I'm gonna sit, because you have to sit like on top of each
Yeah.
other practically.
Mhm.
So I might just give a friendly, oh, good morning, how's your day?
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to like get your number. It's like,
Right?
so I think that was the thing that was tricky in New York was like, people were afraid just to say hi.
Uh-huh.
You know, they didn't know what was gonna happen next.
Right.
They almost were afraid of
Yeah.
me, like,
Yeah.
why is she so friendly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you, Jackie, share with our audience, what advice would you give to, say, a young girl or guy who might be in college or who's graduated
Yeah.
about, especially if they're in a creative field, is there anything that you would say this is a must do?
Oh, I would say the must do is stay positive and try things that are scary. Our pastor says this one thing. He says, you know, everybody wants to be on the mountaintop, right? Like you
Yeah.
hear of like being on the mountaintop.
Yeah.
But when you really think about a mountaintop, that's a very small part of the climb,
Mhm.
right? It's a very small part of the journey is being on top, right? And then also, when you think about where all the greenery is, right? Like think about where all the lushness
Yeah.
of the forest, it's not on the mountaintop, that's all in the valley. So all the growth happens when you're in
Yeah.
the valley.
Yeah.
So it's like we're all like, you know, we always want to be at the top and get to our goal, but it's, you know, that growth that's 99% of the journey, and it's also like where all the greenery is happening, you know,
Yeah.
it's like through the hard stuff. So that's one thing, but then another thing, I just heard recently in this book I read, or I was listening, maybe it was on a podcast, Rachel Hollis,
Yeah.
and her,
Yeah.
she did Girl Wash Your Face.
Yes.
But she said this thing that really shook me. It really shook me because I'm bad at this apparently. But she said, celebrate when you reach a goal. And I'm the worst at
Mhm.
that. Like, if I have had a goal for years, like, let's say my goal was to, you know, get a certain number of Instagram followers on our business account
Yeah.
or something like that. And then I hit the goal and be like, okay, on to the next thing. I have to
Yes.
go sign those
Yes.
papers to do this, and I have to meet with so-and-so, and not even give that moment, just like a moment of like, hey, can we get a hurrah? We all just worked so hard at this goal and we just did it. Or like when something big, like your yoga retreat, you know, like when that thing sells out, and that's like a goal of yours, to just be like, hey, can we just get a hand
yeah.
clap and just like have a moment
Yeah.
to celebrate it? And you don't always have to have a glass of champagne or do it, but even when you do have those big milestones you hit,
Mhm.
have that glass of champagne, go to dinner,
Yeah.
like celebrate that moment. Like some things need just a little moment of acknowledgement that like, hey guys, we were working really hard at this, and our group, our team, we did this. You know?
I say it's like I have a dance of joy.
Yeah.
I really do now.
That's
and it's
awesome.
just like around my kitchen.
Little happy dance.
Happy dance. I really say prayers of thank you. So
Yeah.
in that moment you have to appreciate and value it. It's so
Yes.
huge. But it's taken me a long time to do that. It's been a long time coming.
Well, and it's hard to even in the moment recognize, because our society is just going so fast, and we're on to the next thing and on to the next thing. You don't want to leave anybody waiting, and you don't want to neglect this thing you're supposed to do. But it's like almost just celebrating those victories has, like, I just started a couple weeks ago, like really like trying to acknowledge that. It's just felt so sweet and made it feel like giving it almost like giving God praise to say like, oh, this thing happened that
Yeah.
you were working at and praying
Acknowledging.
for, acknowledging it, but then also just being like, having that moment of joy, like you said, a joy dance. You know, just like
It's so
letting yourself have that
Yeah.
moment of like, whoa.
What is next for Fount?
Hmm.
Do you see another storefront, or do you see another?
I'm laughing
Are
just
we
because.
moving beyond? I mean, you have other things beyond bags, but is there another frontier that you're ready to move into?
Yeah. So I think what's next is our big thing right now is that we're moving into this space that's triple the size. And we really want to focus on employee happiness because our employees have been so patient with us. We have a pretty grungy studio right now. It doesn't have a proper sink to wash our dishes. Like, it doesn't have a garbage disposal. It doesn't have air conditioning. So
Right.
we've had these like kind of makeshift air conditioners and fan situations, and it's just been tight. And we have 7 people in our office. It's been tight, and everybody's been so gracious and patient about it. So we're trying to give them like the dream space. So it's gonna have tons of space. We're gonna have a gym to work out if you want to work out on your lunch or before or after work. We're gonna have like a FOUNT pantry full of snacks for everybody. And then we're gonna have happy hour once a month where like we bring in local food and drinks. We're gonna do all these fun things.
Yeah.
And that, just like to really make this year the year of uplifting our team
Yeah.
and making a really comfy space for us. It has
Mhm.
lounges, and we're gonna have ping pong and foosball and just all this kind of fun stuff to make it like a place that we love to go to every day. And I think our current studio is that way. We love it.
Yeah.
But it's definitely got some rough edges. You know, there's
So
like
kind of self-care,
yeah,
taking
self-care.
care of everyone, like we're a
Yeah.
family.
Yeah, so that's one goal, and then our next goal is to really grow online.
Mm-hmm.
The stores have been just more challenging as far as like getting inventory to a different city. We didn't realize how hard that is, and just also like I said, like we've invested so much time and love into the marketing in Columbus, and we didn't realize how much time that would also take too.
Yeah.
So an interesting thing, we're kind of studying other businesses who are similar to ours. They're called direct-to-consumer businesses as well, like Warby Parker,
Yeah.
or like different ones like that. But specifically them, they were really wise about their growth, and what they did was that they really grew their online presence and really became everyone knows who. Oh, she's got a Warby Parker box right here. They're amazing, right? It's a great company. It's a really great company. Oh, they look amazing on you. Yeah, so,
I know, my daughter says I look better with glasses.
Oh, no, I think you look amazing both ways, but they are a fun statement.
I love them.
But so they are oh, that's so cute. Nice
Yeah.
to see you. So cute.
Yeah.
But they're just so smart to have grown their presence online before they started opening retail stores, because then when they open, they already have a fan base in that city.
Yeah.
So our online presence is still quite small. We don't have a huge Instagram following compared to a company like Warby Parker, and they just last year started opening their brick and mortar stores.
Okay.
Maybe 2 years now. But so just taking cues from a smart business like them to say like, okay, we might be wise to really develop ourselves online before we open more stores. But eventually we do want to have a store, a brick and mortar in the major cities around the country, like New York, Atlanta, Chicago,
Yeah.
LA.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
I think that would be
Oh,
marvelous.
it's just so fun too.
Yeah, you can do it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And on Instagram, you are where? What's the name? Fount
Yeah,
Leather?
Fount Leather.
On
Yeah.
Instagram.
Actually, no, we're just Fount now.
Fount.
Yeah.
On Instagram. And then do you have a Facebook
Yep,
presence?
same, Fount.
Fount.
Mm-hmm.
So go check that stuff out. I mean, check out those sites. The products are absolutely beautiful. And if
Thank
you
you.
can get to Jackie's store, you will be so proud that this beautiful store exists in Cleveland. It's really remarkable.
Thank you.
I thank you for sharing your story.
Oh, thanks for having
it's
me.
so fun.
You're
and
fun.
cool, and I'm thrilled, and we'll just keep everyone posted on what's happening with you.
Okay.
I thank you
I
so
hope
much,
I can come to the
Jackie.
retreat.
I know. I think you need to come.
I'm gonna talk to my husband tonight.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Nice job.
That was so fun.
I know. That's why I love it. It's just like conversation.